Hey everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Let's Build a Being a Wing Coaster and Planet Coaster series, where, controversially, I'm not building the supports first, which is really unlike what I would normally do. For this series, I really decided I wanted to focus on the kind of scenery aspect of it, instead of, you know, doing my usual build the layout, put the supports, mess about with the footers and then the catwalk stuff. I wanted to really nail the theming for the station first this time, so that's exactly what we're doing. As I mentioned in the previous episode, the theme for this coaster is a Japanese theme, but it's not like specific or anything. So essentially what I ended up going for is this really grand, giant kind of traditional temple station for this coaster, which I've never built before. I've never done anything like this before. I've never done Japanese theming. I've never really done an in-depth themed station before, so you'll have to excuse me if there's some areas that don't look, you know, they look a bit plain or anything like that, because I'm not really a theming person. I don't do this very often. It's not my forte. I'm not great at theming, but I wanted to push myself with this project, so yeah, I really put time into building the station, and that's exactly why I wanted to do it first. I wanted to get my ideas on paper, because, you know, I recorded this pretty much after I finished the first episode, so I kicked off it straight away, and because I had like a creative influx going on after I'd finished the coaster, so I was like, I'm not gonna let this go, so I'm gonna go ahead and you know, keep going with it and, you know, get this done. So I ended up spending a couple of days doing this station. Like, not like, you know, on and off work. It was a lot of on and off work, but I ended up finishing it yesterday, or the time recording it would have been the 30th. It's a very grand station. It's enormous. It's got like 4 floors, but they're not, you know, they're not actually there. But overall, I'm really happy with the aesthetic of the station. I'm quite proud of it, I gotta say. It's definitely not the best theme you've ever seen, because I'm no Silverette, or I'm no Swiss Creations. He's mental. I'm nowhere near as good as that, but I really tried. I really used references for this. I wanted to get the style down. So yeah, the first thing I'm doing here is putting down the air gates and the kind of queue line for this. I'm using that invisible gates mod, or texture pack I should say, just so I can get rid of the gates, but I have actually got the station there and it's quite visible. So certain aspects I can't get rid of, but much of it is very easily hideable. Like, you'll see towards the end of the time-lapse, when I actually work on the little path that goes over the station to get to the other side of the actual station itself, I hid the operator quite well, I think. I think it fits really well with the station itself. Yeah, so in terms of like the actual station itself, the design of it on like the interior and the layout, I think worked really well, because of course with a wing coaster you have to have 2 separate stations, or 2 separate sides I should say, you know, because it's not like Furious Backer where you can just walk over the central part of the station, the cars even. You have to give it separate air gates and loading areas, otherwise, you know, riders aren't going to be able to get it. So I built a little bit of a stairway thing going over this up. I put the op cabin on the same place, and then, well, you'll see it towards the end of the episode. So right here, I got a suggestion to put some of those kind of thin, papery clay walls. I don't know what material they're made out of, but they have them in Japanese kind of temples. These tall walls that act as kind of cross beams, but they're not like filled in. They're only, the roof is the very top beam, the wooden bit there. So it helps add a little bit of definition to the station, making it look a little bit more nice and a little bit more tidy and clean. So yeah, I think it turned out really quite well actually. So you know, I'm quite happy with it. It especially ties together quite nicely when, I'm not sure if I did include it in this video, because I may have forgotten to hit record a few times when working on this, but you know, I tried my best. But here you can see I'm doing the op cabin bit there, but I ended up putting some like little grooves in the roof, like little cross-sectional beams that make it look a little bit more full and tidy, and I ended up hiding some kind of warm-coloured box lights in the top sections of those, so they kind of glow down onto the station, and honestly, it's a really nice touch. I think it worked incredibly well for, you know, what it was, and I'm just happy that the whole thing kind of came together really nicely. Here you can see, this is where I ended up building the this is the entrance path. This is where it crossed over. And what I did here is I actually designed some of those thin kind of Japanese papery walls. I don't know how to describe them, but like they're the ones that have the sliding walls, but they have that like gridded pattern on them made out of, you know, divides or whatever. So yeah, I probably used far too many pieces for this, but I think you can get the memo of what I was doing. I was doing these kind of like cross bit here, yeah. And then that way I could create a way of getting to the op cabin from, you know, the coaster itself, though I'm not sure it's most realistic to have the op cabin's door be straight away closed to the queue line itself, but hey ho, it's not really the end of the world. It's probably fine. But yeah, I'll build the door here. It's just a little papery door. It has quite a nice effect on it. Quite happy with it. Yeah, overall, it looks it's tidied up the little pathway there quite nicely. The other side of that pathway has, you know, a little. It's not a solid wall, so you can kind of, as you're queuing, look over the right-hand turnout at the station, and you get a nice little bit of interaction, I guess, with the train down there. But I guess people would be facing the wrong way, so it doesn't really work. But how well, minor details. There's not really much else to say about this. You'll notice most of it happening as, you know, the time-lapse progresses. That there's quite a bit of trial and error. I end up, you know, getting rid of a lot of bits and replacing them with other bits. Here you go. There's the strategic encasing of the op cabin there. I end up putting the exit path under that little flat bit of path there, which I think worked really well because it adds a really nice little effect to it. Plants are too big in this game. Couldn't find anything nice, so I ended up going with a jungle plant in a little pot, which is tilted towards the station itself, so it doesn't clip through the wall to the left, which is quite annoying because I had to tilt it massively. Custom gates there. I made them out of beam pieces. They look quite nice. I did something very similar when I was doing Dragon Khan's queue line. I think they turned out quite well. They're not the most piece efficient, but they're very stylized. I think they look really nice, and I'm quite happy with how they turned out. Yeah, I just fixed the stairs here. And yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think there's not really much else to say about this, really, apart from just watching the time lapse. In terms of updates to the channel or anything, I made a new logo for it. It's only because I learnt that new skill in Photoshop of how to make the kind of liquefied background, and I was really thinking about getting a new logo. It's a lot more minimalist than the other one, even though the other one was quite minimalist, but I think it's a little bit cleaner. I think it's a bit nicer, it's a bit more modern. I'm happy with it. Leave your thoughts on it in the comments. I need to do a new channel banner as well. I might do a new channel banner when this is finished, this coaster, which, by the way, is going to take a few episodes. It's probably going to be a bit longer than Inferno, just because of the theming aspect of this coaster. I already did start on next week's episode of this, which was the catwalks and I do actually end up doing some of the supports this week, though I've only just started doing the lift hill, and I did end up putting some details on the catwalks to make them look just a little bit nicer, including, like, you know, custom connectors to the track and all that. And I think you know, adding a little bit of detail to the in-game catwalks, it legitimately makes a huge difference. They look so much better than the in-game ones normally, because there's just little 3D bits sticking out. There's little cables running up the side, and there's an anemometer at the top for the wind speed. It's just those little tiny details that really make a world of difference when you end up viewing the coaster from certain angles and stuff. And, you know, the on-ride experience is far, far better. One thing you'll probably want to know is my Aces Sky video is kind of going to become a bit outdated soon, because in the Planet Coaster modding community, there has finally been a mod which removes the anticipation for the coasters, which it's brilliant. It is the greatest thing that's been added to the game since V3 itself, or the actual mod, you know, the 2 meter pieces. It makes a world of difference. Honestly, seat cam is usable again. Basically what it does is it removes anticipation for every single coaster cam that uses it. The only thing that doesn't change is the chase cam, but who uses the chase cam for realistic POVs? But it's brilliant. It makes a world of difference, and honestly, you'll love using it when it eventually gets released. I've used it from being a beta tester in the server, which I'm very thankful for. And there's a new mod loading system as well, which removes the need for the mod manager completely. All you do is drag and drop files, and that's still kind of in development at the moment, but the system is really good, and it's so helpful, honestly. Like, it's one of the best things I think that's been done with the mod pack in a while. Mod pack that's been done with the mod in a very long time, so, you know, yeah. Here we are, we're moving on to the exterior of the station, so I think I'll wrap up the talking portion of the video now, because I'm going to end up waffling on about nothing, as always, but, you know, it's time-lapse, that kind of happens, so, you know, we just kind of deal with it. So I'll quickly just wrap up by saying thank you so much for the support again recently. 460 subscribers now, that's amazing. You guys are incredible, and I'm thankful for all the support that you give this channel. It's honestly amazing, and I'm really glad that you're enjoying the content. So I will quickly just end it here by saying thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the more videos. Quick disclaimer, I was going to put PortVentura out, but I don't have the park anymore. I did end up giving that to the other members of the team. So PortVentura content will resume in a couple of weeks, maybe. In a few weeks. I'm going to do this as probably my main series now, and I'll maybe make a few spin-off videos of whatever. If you want to see any specific shorter kind of videos, let me know. I haven't really done the element tutorials anymore because I can't think of any elements that are really, you know, easy enough to do a tutorial on, or I have my own method for, because stuff like being in parabolic hills, I kind of just eyeball them. I don't have a solid method, and I don't really want to, you know, I don't really want to give you guys a method which won't really work all the time, and because then I'll be like, oh, I've just wasted like, what, 20 minutes of your time, and it's not even going to work. So if you do have a suggestion, or you do have something that you want to see, throw it in. I'll take a look at them, and hopefully maybe make a video on them soon, because, well, I'd like to diversify what I put on YouTube, because I haven't done them in a while, and they're quite fun to make. They're annoying because my software it misaligns all of my audio when it goes through autosave. So if I can turn that off, then that'll be a lot better to do for that. So what can you do though? Alright, anyway, enough of that. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time.